Hello, mixtresses and mixters. This is mixtressrae. You're watching Mixtress Video. It's been a while. It's been a minute. I'm sorry I left you for so long. Let's light some candles. So I'm going to do a favorites video, which is not something that, I think I've done it like one other time maybe. So, but I'm keeping track of so many things these days that it might be a fun thing to start doing. Like, no promises on whether or not I will keep doing it on any kind of regular basis, but let's have a heart. Okay. But wait, it's not completely 100% centered. Okay. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Okay. So, the big thing, January was extra. January was really extra. I was sick most of the month. I'll put my hands up here just for some visuals. I was sick most of the month. I got a flu in like the second week of January, and it was kind of a weird, like, gaslighting flu, because like some days I'd feel fine, other days I'd feel kind of crappy, some days I'd feel like, oh yeah, I'm definitely sick. Like one day I had a fever and I was really fatigued, but it was just a weird sickness that lasted like a week and a half or so. And then I got COVID. And for a second, I thought I was just still dealing with that flu, because Michael gave me the gift of both flu and COVID. Flu-rona is what I'm calling it. He gave me both of those gifts. Love of my life, Michael. And he got a COVID test when we got the flu, when he first got the flu, so it was negative. So I thought we were just still dealing with that whenever we started to get sick again. But then he went and got tested a second time, like a week and a half later. Or was it the week after? Or 2 weeks after? I don't know, whatever. And it was positive. So we definitely had something that wasn't COVID, and then we got something that was. So it's just been an adventure of like healing from all of that. So it was a very weird month, because I was on vacation the first week of January, and then the second 3 weeks, the 3 weeks in the middle of January, I was like having to call in a lot to work, because we had to quarantine, and then first we had to wait for the results of the first test, which took a couple of days before we could go back to work, that first negative test. Anyway, it was a whole thing. So, and then, I'm just getting to the point where I'm like recovering, now. So yeah, that was pretty much my January. I was sick most of the month. And then I went straight into, so I had the flu, then I got COVID, and then, after I'd had COVID for like 5 days, I went straight into my period. So it was just, and I'm always just kind of laid up the first 2 days of my period, just because, I have such bad cramps those first couple of days. So it was a lot. And I really felt, for a while, I was feeling really unmotivated to do anything at all except survive, So I'm back, and I'm feeling pretty good again, and we're here with a favorites video. So my number one favorite for January, you guys may have seen in my last video, I was showing off a different planner. I decided to try the Hobonichi Life. So I got a Hobonichi Weeks. That's what this is. And this has like a little cover on it. Not sure how much I can show you without getting too personal, but I put a little UFO sticker on the inside. I am really, really, really enjoying it. Hold on, I'm using these sort of like the week view. I'm just like writing sort of like what I do during the day, and then I write like little to-do lists and card spreads and things over here in my like monthly view, I am just keeping track of my card of the day and tracking some other things, like whether or not I journaled during the day, whether or not I did some sort of physical activity. I'm keeping track of like if I use a tarot deck for an entire week, like what deck am I using? I usually write the deck that I'm using right next to the card of the day. And then this is Buffy episodes for my Buffy podcast, since I recap every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer exactly 20 years after its original air date. So I keep track of the days that I need to do those episodes. I put little tabs in here. Thank you to Sue Rin, who gave me these tabs forever ago, and I finally am using them. So just like little things, like stuff that I'm keeping track of. Okay, yeah, I can show this. This is just financial shit. So my biggest goal for 2022 is to stay within a particular budget, which is $120 a month. And then I have free spending with any other income sources, like anything I make from my Oracle deck, my Patreon, if I get money for birthday or Christmas, my YouTube, my merch, Etsy income, all of that. So I did spend $300 on the internet in January, but using these extra income sources on top of my $120 a month budget, I did not go over. So I gave myself a gold star for January. Look at that. And then, I have just like books. This is my to be read pile. And I've gotten through several of them already this year. And then I have just some other sort of stuff I'm keeping track of. I'm keeping track of all the movies and TV that I watch throughout the year, which is kind of silly, but it's kind of fun just because, I wasn't keeping track of that before. And I have plenty of space for that. My tarot collection, my oracle collection, other stuff. My perfume collection, my book club. We're a themed book club, so I get to give myself a little gold star if I did what I set out to do. I'm just writing down my books that I'm reading in 2022. My Etsy, my tarot readings. I've only gotten one order, so I've actually gotten 2 orders, but one of them I had to refund because I didn't have a voice that day, so I just refunded it. Anyway, you guys don't care about all the shit that's in my planner. But one of the things that I'm keeping track of, no spoilers for this video in particular, but is a top 8 of the month. So I'm going to be like writing down, since I'm keeping track of the books that I read, the movies and TV shows that I watch, all of that, tarot decks that I get. I'm keeping track of so many things that it's easy for me to keep track of, like, my favorite things of the month. So I'm going to do a top 8 every month, just in this last, because Hobonichi has this sort of like my 100 list that I'm guessing you just use for whatever you want. And so that's what I'm using it for. So that's what we're here for right now. So one of my top 8 things of the month is the Hobonichi Weeks, because I'm really, really enjoying using it. Just like, learning how to journal better. Not really using it like a planner. I'm using it more like tracking things and journaling and all of that stuff. And it's really great. And I love it. I'm enjoying it a lot. So that's my top favorite thing from the month of January, because I've never had a Hobonichi Weeks before. And then, oh wait, I forgot something. Of course I did. Hold on, let me go get my iPad. I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay, so this is a song that's been out since like 1992, but I just discovered it in January, and it is called It's a Fine Day by Opus 3, and it's just so simple. The lyrics are so simple. It's like, sorry, like glare is making this not as cute. So it's like, It's going to be a fine night tonight. It's going to be a fine day tomorrow. And that's like most of the lyrics right there. And it was just such a great like mantra song for me in January, just like getting over all of these illnesses and things. It's just been great to have something this simple to listen to over and over again. I just love this song so much. There's like some lyrics about going out and looking at the grass and the sky, and it was just the dose of positivity that I needed, you know, in January, just to get through the month, just to survive. And then, let's see, one of my other favorites, I saw Dracula, which is also from 1992. The one with Gary Oldman, Winona Ryder, and Keanu Reeves. Anthony Hopkins, Perkins, I think it's Hopkins. I did see it as a teenager, but I didn't really like it that much because I'm mostly into like Anne Rice style vampires, you know, like pretty vampires, pretty and sophisticated vampires. So Dracula's never really been my thing. Actually attempted to read the book this month too, and I kind of hated it. I read like about maybe a fifth of it, and then I gave up. It was just too convoluted for me. I have like some auditory processing issues that kind of translate into text sometimes. Like certain styles of writing, I just can't. It's like I'm reading another language or something. So that's kind of how I felt about Dracula. And it wasn't because it's an old book, because I mean, I love Pride and Prejudice, I love other old classics and things, but Dracula, I love Frankenstein. Oh my god, if Mary Shelley had written Dracula, I'd fucking love it. However, something that came out, I think even before Dracula, was, I may be wrong about this, but I think I'm right. I think this came out before Dracula. Dracula's Guest. So it's like, I have it in this short story book. It's only like 10 pages long, 12 pages long. So I think I'll read this because, yeah, the theme for my book club this month is vampires. So I tried to read Dracula and it didn't work out. And I watched the movie Dracula, and I did actually, like, I really appreciated it. Like, there's a lot of like male gazy bullshit in this movie that I didn't like, that really made me roll my eyes, but it's I mean, a lot of people love this movie. A lot of people have seen this movie. Like, I could see having a double feature with this and Interview with the Vampire. So I did properly appreciate it, I think, which I was not expecting. I was not expecting to love it. I just decided to watch it whenever I gave up on the book. And it's really well done. Like, if you like vampires, and you, for some reason, have not watched it. Everyone has. I'm just like the last person that hasn't fucking watched it. Maybe I need to try Lost Boys again, because I hated that movie when I watched it as a teenager too. So maybe I'll like that one now since everyone else fucking loves it. I don't know. We'll see. And then one of my other top 8 favorites, I watched the new season of Dexter New Blood. I won't give any spoilers since it's still pretty new, but I will say that I really, really got invested in Dexter, the TV show. My mom was super obsessed with it, and she made me watch it, and she makes me rewatch it all the time. So I've seen the whole series of Dexter like 2 or 3 or 4 different times, although I refuse to watch the last season beyond the first time I watched it, because the treatment of Deb's character in that season, like, she's my favorite character in that show, and just like seeing her descent and then eventual spoilers for, you know, a season of Dexter that was like 8 years ago, her eventual death at the end of that season was just, it was a betrayal to me. Like, because, okay, so the way that the whole series ended was Dexter didn't die and Deborah did. And that pissed me off because that's not the way that it should go. Dexter's a serial killer, and it was completely his fault. Everything that happened to Deb. Everything that happened to Deb was his fault. So he doesn't get to live. So, shit. I mean, I guess spoilers for this new season too, actually. So turn this off or skip forward until you no longer see Dexter's face on the screen, if you don't want spoilers for Dexter New Blood. Okay, here we go. Dexter dies in New Blood. And so for me, it made everything right that they did not... I mean, to me, the question of Dexter was always either he's going to get caught or he's going to get killed. And neither one of those things happened by the end of the original series, which the creators did want to do that. They wanted to answer that question. Either he's going to get caught or he's going to get killed. But the network wouldn't let them do it, so they had to make an ending where he made it out. So this new season picks up, like 8 years later, and he's alive, but by the end, his son, Harrison, kills him. And it's exactly what needed to happen. I think they did a really great job filming, or telling this, being able to pick up a show after 8 years. I think they did a great job making it still interesting and making it still feel like Dexter, but in a totally different environment, because it was set in Florida, with Florida atmospheres and Cuban music and bossa nova music and all kinds of cool stuff for the soundtrack. And it was very Florida. It was very, of its place. Setting was a big deal in the show originally, and then they picked it up in a really cold environment this time, as you can see in this picture. So I really like what they did with it. So I would recommend, if you're a fan of Dexter, even though I just gave away the ending, I would recommend it. So I think that's all I have. No, wait, okay. So one of my favorite books that I read in January, it was one that I actually started 2 or 3 months ago. Sometimes it usually takes me months to get through a fiction book, to be honest. So I read Project Hail Mary from Andy Weir. He's the guy that wrote The Martian. And it's such a comfort, The Martian and Project Hail Mary both are just comfort books for me. Just I don't know, someone being lost in space and having to survive is comforting to me. I don't know why, but so I really enjoyed. This one was about the main character meets an alien, and so this book is almost about friendship. And it's just how he finds a way to communicate with this alien, and then he eventually becomes best friends with him, and then they save the universe together, or not the universe, but they save their respective planets together. And I guess spoilers. Oh God, one of those people, I just said spoilers after I gave the spoiler. Sorry about that, guys, but it's a really fun time. It's a really good book. I enjoyed it a lot. It took me forever to read because it was just kind of my nighttime book. I just read it on my Kindle before bed for months, but it was awesome and I really loved it. I think that's the last one on here. Yeah, okay, so that's the last visual aid that is on my iPad. So the other favorite thing that I read in January was Carmilla. So this is just, I have a whole bunch of vampire short stories in this book, and Carmilla is a 70-page book, and it is 1872. It was one of the very first published vampire stories, and I don't really know how to talk about it. There were some moments that did not hold up well, just some there was a racist moment, the only time a black person is even mentioned in this whole story, and it was pretty racist and shitty. And then there were also some, you know, just general sexism bullshit that you might expect from a story from 1872. But other than those little moments, it's really well written, and it's one that I've been meaning to read because it's like the sapphic vampire novella, right? It's, if you know anything about vampire literature, you know that you need to read Carmilla. And I, as a 39-year-old goth, I still hadn't read it. But I read it in January, and I'm so happy I did. I spent so much time in the tub whenever I was sick, and I would just take Carmilla with me to the tub every time, and I would just read in the tub, and it was my sort of self-care. Because to me, the way I define self-care is it's something you don't really want to do, but you feel better after you do it. And whenever I was sick, I didn't even want to put forth the energy to get in the tub, to draw myself a bath and get in the tub. But once I did it, it always made me feel better. So that became like almost a daily activity while I was sick, while I was in quarantine especially. And Carmilla was with me during those times, and it was very good. That's all I'll say, I guess. I mean, it's just kind of, you know, slow-paced kind of vampire story from 1872. I mean, vampires were scary back then, but they were also just kind of, you know how, like, horror books from olden times were actually that scary. Like, not that much actually happens that's scary in Carmilla. But it's beautifully written and mostly holds up besides a couple of problematic elements. So I really enjoyed that. And it was the entire reason that I bought this collection of vampire stories is because of Carmilla. So hopefully I'll also read some other shit in this book eventually. And then I have 2 tarot decks that are that I acquired in January. But one of them I can't show off yet. It's a secret. I'm waiting on a particular thing to happen before I can show you this particular tarot deck. Don't get too excited. It's not like one that I created myself or anything like that. It's just it's one that I just can't show off yet because I'm doing a collaboration with someone and I have to wait for something totally outside of their control to happen before I can show you this particular tarot deck. So I just don't want to tease you guys by showing it to you right now because I'm not going to flip through it yet until that video becomes available. So therefore, you're only getting my top 7 out of 8 is the point. So one of my other favorite tarot deck that I acquired in January is Neon Moon Tarot from Pixel Occult. I'll read the little thing for you because I like his descriptions on his tarot decks. Neon Moon Tarot, a retro-futuristic cyberpunk tarot deck featuring original artwork for all 78 cards. Okay, so this deck slayed me. I just got it like a week and a half ago or so I haven't had it that long. But, so Zents are pentacles, wires are, wands, death is death, supervisors are queens, apprentices are pages. Look at this temperance card, and this star card. So it's a limited color palette deck, set in, you know, like a post-apocalyptic cyberpunk comic book world. Forgive the bandages. I cut through the webbing of my hand yesterday with a pair of very sharp scissors. It's not as bad as it looks. It didn't need 2 band-aids because of how big the cut is, just because it helps stabilize so I don't move it too much. Arms are swords. and vials are cups. Agents are, I just forgot the word, knight. Like it starts with a K. But so as you can see, it's a limited color palette deck. It really only has black, pink, purple, and blue as its colors. And I just love it so much. I have Lost Hollow too by Pixel Occult, but this one feels like a much more specific, like, he's really, really good at creating a world, creating an atmosphere. These are the backs. And I edged it in pink, of course. It's funny because I edged it in a hot pink, but this is what it looked like. It didn't turn out hot pink. This particular cardstock really soaked it up. But anyway, I feel like he's just really great at world building and characterization. And whereas Lost Hollow is set in a forest, with this deck, it's, you know, set in a cityscape, sort of futuristic situation, and there's like a storyline behind it. You know, there are people above the plate and below the plate, so there's like an economic divide, like we have in our real world. And sort of you see the contrast between the those that are above the plate and those that are below the plate. This is the one card that, like, I think that's red, that her eye is red. Or does it just look red because it's next to... Is it actually the same color as the pink? To me, it looks kind of like red. Anyway, this is Queen of Swords. But I just love it so much. It's so expressive. And of course, it reminds me of reading a comic book. And anyway, I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but I love it. I really, really love it. I'm really appreciating right now tarot decks that are more specific, that are more portraying a very specific world. And yeah, another one of, I mean, I guess I can show you another tarot deck. This wasn't on like my favorites because I just got it. So this might end up being in my favorites of February, but I just got the Ludi Lesket, and it's not actually in here right now because it was very heavily used. I got it from eBay, and it was so worn that I needed to trim off the edges because they were really worn. And I just got kind of like an energetic vibe that, like, it needed to be in my timeout box, essentially. And so my timeout box is just sort of the sacred box that my mom made in high school. Like, she hand carved it, and it's really sacred to me. And I keep it empty most of the time, but I put things in it when they need to be cleansed and sort of... So even after trimming this deck and edging it myself, and I just trimmed it like a tiny bit, just enough to get the worn edges off, and I like smoke cleansed it and trimmed it and edged it and spent a lot of time with it when I first got it, and it still just felt like it wasn't ready to work with me yet. I just really got that vibe, and I don't normally get that vibe from used decks. Usually used decks are good to go when I don't need to do anything, but this one, there was some interesting, possibly slightly bad juju hanging around on this particular deck. So it kind of let me know. I did some card draws with it and like, okay, well, what's gonna make you feel like you're ready to work with me? And basically the answer was, put me in the timeout box for at least a month. So this might even end up being on my favorites video for March, because I put it in the timeout box on like the 25th or the 26th of January. So we'll see. Like, I'll feel it out. Maybe it will only need to be in that box for a couple weeks. Maybe it'll need to be in there for a month. But yeah, I've never had to do that before. So it feels weird to me to have a new tarot deck that I have not worked with yet, but that's what we're dealing with right now. Let's see. What else can I talk to you guys about? So those are pretty much my favorites of January. I got several tarot decks in January, honestly. But one of them I'm not going to show you yet, and the other ones just weren't really favorites, but they were okay. Like, I guess I can show them to you. Why not? We haven't hung out in a while. So I also got Golden Art Nouveau Tarot in January, right at the very beginning. I got this one at a witchy store. And I like these sort of like blingy decks. I also have Nefertari's Tarot. And I mean, I'm not actually a fan of gold as far as like jewelry. I never wear gold, ever. But, and of course, if this had an option for silver or gold, I would actually choose silver. But I think this is the best Art Nouveau tarot deck that I've seen. But I still don't totally love it. Like, some of the images I really like. Like, I like this one quite a bit. But some of them I just really, I don't know. I mean, it's a very RWS with Art Nouveau slapped over it kind of situation. Like, I love this High Priestess. She's great. I mean, the art is definitely well done. But I don't know if this is going to be like a forever in my collection kind of thing. Like, it's very easy to work with because, you know, it's just a straight RWS clone, basically. And for now, I think this is the best Art Nouveau deck that exists. So, another one, I've already shown you guys the Ghost Tarot, though. I got that one for Christmas. So I think I showed it to you in, like, the last video. Yeah. So, there you go. That's my favorites of January. I forgot how to do a video. So thanks for putting up with this weird ramble fest. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing like a no internet February challenge right now. There will obviously be some internet in my life because I need it for my job. And I'm still allowing myself to stream music, and in certain contexts I'm allowed to like watch Netflix and things like that. If I'm watching with my Michael or my mom, I'm allowed to watch the things that we watch together if they're on streaming services. But for the most part, I am avoiding the internet in February, with the exception of I'm allowing myself 1 hour on Friday nights during my radio show to access the internet via my computer. Which, all that to say, if you do comment on this video, not that I'm the best about replying to comments anyway, but if you do comment on this video, I will not be replying in the month of February unless I get on to check my comments during that hour on a Friday night, which I doubt that I will do. So there you go. Not that you guys needed that disclaimer, but it's going to be interesting. I'm going to allow myself to still upload videos, of course. So I wonder if I will be making more videos this month because I won't be distracting myself with internet use during the day. So this will be a fun way to connect with people, even though it'll be one-sided. But, so we'll see. Maybe I'll post like 47 videos in February. It could happen. Not 47, obviously, but anyway, thanks for listening to me babble. You guys are the best. And I will talk to you soon. I've got a couple of exciting collaborations coming up. Hopefully one of them for sure will happen this month. The other one I hope will happen this month. So stay tuned for that. Bye.